Hello folks, and how are you all doing? So, I have made a lot of Rust tutorials in my YouTube channel, and now today I have a very interesting article. So, why Rust programming language is the best for modern developers. And this is also a very recent article from 10th of May. So, designed to provide high and low level control, Rust offers excellent highlights like design matching, ownership framework, and algebraic information sorts that help eliminate common bugs, making the language more solid and secure. Now, one thing for sure that I have felt while programming in Rust is that Rust is one form of high level language that gives you the power of low level language also. I mean, it's both a high and low level. So, I mean, it's cool, so that's why it's high level, and it also allows you to play with memory. That's why it's also low level. I mean, that's what I feel. I mean, don't say this in any interview because then you will be rejected for sure. But this is how I feel. Anyway, now most of you might be surprised with so numerous programming languages already shown. Why Rust programming language is the best for modern developers? The reply is that other programming languages have much control over the equipment you are running. For example, you can optimize it and decipher precisely the code. But hello, don't fall for this trap because it's not exceptionally safe. So one thing that Rustaceans will always say is that no matter which language you are using, I mean, it may allow you to do the stuff you are willing to do. It may allow you to run your business and do whatever you want, but it's not safe. And Rust is safe. So that's the only thing. Not the only thing, there are many other good things also, but this is possibly the biggest thing, I mean, the biggest advantage for us that it is, it is safe by design. So with Rust comes a control we have with extreme levels of security. Let us walk you through everything about Rust. So, growing popularity of Rust. As a multi-paradigm general-purpose programming language, Rust has become ubiquitous recently, captivating engineers with its unique mix of execution, security, and concurrency. The Rust programming language structure is very similar to that of C, C++, and Java. And this is also low-level like C and C++, and you can play with memory. In Java, you cannot, but in C and C++, you definitely can using pointers. And that also has some issues. So moving ahead, due to its solid highlights and rigid compile time checks, it is one of the best alternatives for system programming, web improvement, and other endeavors. Rust community is growing as far as more and more engineers become mindful of its focal points, empowering inventiveness and advancing the language's more extensive use. It is considered one of the best choices, particularly when it comes to backend advances and other best backend technologies. So yeah, so Rust is primarily focused on the backend. Although you can do lots of front end stuff also, like there are static site generators made in Rust, and there is also some front end libraries also. So for example, Zola is one. So Zola Rust, if I search, so Zola is a static site generator. So your one-stop static site engine. Forget dependencies. Everything you need is in one binary. And if you go to GitHub, this is in Rust. So as you can see, this is not so active as a repository. I mean, 2 3 days ago there are some updates, but it works good. Like I have used Zola, and as you can see, it's mostly made in Rust. And there is also Tauri and many other things also. So Tauri is built and optimized, secured and front-end independent application for multi-platform deployment. And if you go to GitHub, this is also something where you are using Rust. So they're saying Tower is a framework for building tiny, blazingly fast binaries for all major desktop platforms. So I mean, there are different ways you can use Rust in the front end, and there is also WebAssembly, WASM. So WASM, if you search, so WASM. So WebAssembly is a binary instruction format for stack-based virtual machine. WASM is designed as a portable compilation target for programming languages and enabling deployment on the web or client and server applications. Now, this is not only related to Rust. So using WASM, you can also execute C and C++ in the browser. So this is a different topic. Maybe I will cover it in some other video. But for now, let's simply read ahead. So one of the preeminent reasons for Rust popularity is its security and reliability. Rust ownership worldview avoids information race and invalid pointer errors, which are common causes for bugs and security flaws in other languages. Due to its affinity for crashes and eccentric behavior, Rust is an excellent choice for improving frameworks. Where solidness and consistency are essential, let's have a brief discussion about why Rust programming language is best. So, why is it best? So Rust is a phenomenal programming language for making high-performing apps, and it has a flourishing community of designers from a trade and open source segments, making it solid and essential to use. So yeah, this is also actually true that the Rust community is actually very, very enthusiastic, and yeah, I mean, you should learn little bit of Rust and interact with the community. Only then you will understand. And although There are a few reasons why Rust is so unique, and you must consider utilizing it. Once mentioned above, make it one promising programming language. So it is versatile, it is quick, it is dependable. So yeah, this is definitely true. You can run the same code at any stage without stressing about porting. This is one primary reason for its victory as more individuals are moving to use open source tools. And it's quick with its prevalent execution. You can run anything at bursting speed without investing time in optimizing your code. Now, one thing for sure that I must mention is that Rust compiler takes a while to compile the code. But once it's compiled, the executable is blazingly fast. Like it's maybe as fast as C and C++. So yeah, so if you don't mind the long execution times, not execution, the long compilation times. If you have executable, like if you have something, some app already running in Rust, I mean, already you have the executable. I mean, I don't think it's an issue. Like you should definitely use Rust. It's safe and it's also blazingly fast, and it's dependable due to its security. Rust is an extraordinary language that will not crash or continue unexpectedly. So, what is Rust programming language utilized for? So, like any other programming language, Rust can write distinctive applications. It is one of the most favored programming languages since it has been utilized to compose high performance frameworks. And I believe in the Stack Overflow survey also, Rust comes as the most popular language. So it's popular and it's also being used for a lot of things. The language was initially made so programmers might make high performing apps without stressing, almost making invalid memory accesses while utilizing C and C++. So what happens in C and C++ is many folks claim that there are skill issues of developers, and that's why they write code which is not safe. So that's why Rust handles it in the opposing way, and that is Rust is safe by design. So there is some skill issue by learning, but once you learn Rust, there will be no issues. And lastly, enhancing security, speed, and concurrency, as well as the penchant to do numerous operations in parallel, are the fundamental objectives of utilizing Rust. It is used to create advanced applications that require versatility, such as diversion motors, working frameworks, and browsers. And reasons to utilize Rust for another advancement project. Rust language is like having a superpower for building. I mean, yeah, it's simply praises of Rust. It gives you the devices to do the work, clears out the rest to the compiler. So Rust programs give you the tools to do the work. The compiler then does the job for you. So as long as you write valid code, the compiler will take care of it, and yeah, your program will be safe. Once again, by design. And it is an amazing language for a multitude of diverse projects. Rust is a great choice, particularly when it comes down to web development. Its compile time makes it culminate in making secluded front-end libraries or web apps in common. Yeah, it's good for web also, although there is not some solid libraries as of now. So, for example, libraries as well as frameworks. So, for example, in case of Rust, there is a site called RV WebYet, RV WebYet, and here what we will have is RV WebYet. Yes, and it's freaking fast. So Rust has a mature and production-ready frameworks like ActiveWeb and AppAxum, innovative ones like Warp and Type. So these provide everything you would need. But I believe they mentioned that there is no, can I replace my Rails Django Laravel app already? So Rust does not have a dominant framework at the level of Django or Rails. So this is one thing that you should keep in mind, and that there is no such web development frameworks in Rust as of now, any dominant framework. So you can definitely do web development. There are smaller micro frameworks, but if you want a framework, it's still not there. And actually, Rust is also being used for game development. I'm not sure they are mentioning it or not, but let's see. For gaming also, as well as for making game engines, Rust is very good. So Rust implies more secure. So yeah, we have heard a lot about that, and that is also true. Rust is more secure, Rust is fast, and it is simple to learn, which is not really true, I believe. Rust is actually very difficult to learn. It takes a while. Like it took me 6 months before I could maybe create any content on Rust. Like I didn't have the confidence that I will be able to write any code. So yeah, it is not easy, folks. So Rust highlights a language structure that will be familiar to anybody who has ever modified it. The language structure is planned to be straightforward and run for designers of all expertise levels, making the learning curve much more open than other programming languages. Practically, it is comparable to C, C++, or Java, which is not really easy, I believe. Compared to that, Python and JavaScript is something that we consider to be easy. Designers who have worked with these languages will feel right at home. I'm not really sure. Like I have worked with C Sharp, which is similar to Java, and yeah, there is similarities with Rust. That's for sure. But it's difficult. So that's why I suggest that you should first learn some other programming language, and maybe second or third language you can pick Rust. But before that, it's simply not advisable because it's too difficult to master. And some FAQs. How does Rust differ from other languages? Like I believe we all know by now. And anyway, we will be making a lot more tutorials also. Like I'll be releasing, like I believe previously it was 15 or 16, but I'll be releasing a lot more and more advanced stuff. So maybe we can discuss on that. And can Rust be really used by full stack devs? Rust is actually a very good language for full stack dev. It came out as a system language with memory safety without garbage collector, but being a system language doesn't prevent Rust from shining in high level applications. So yeah, so one thing that we must take care of is that in backend Rust is very good because it is fast, but there is still no web development framework. So sometimes in web development we want a lot of ready-made things. So for example, routers and stuff. So we want some good frameworks. So we don't want to do many things by hand because it has a lot more to do with business and design and not really our programming. So that is the thing. And how does Rust ensure memory safety? It is by the ownership model and a few other things. So this is something we will discuss in the tutorials and why we should consider Rust because of all the above reasons. I mean, it's common sense now by now, I guess. And what is Rust ownership model? Again, there is some small paragraph over here, but we will see. We will see when I am creating a video on that. So anyway, that's it for this, folks. So if you want to learn Rust and if you already have some experience with other languages, then yeah, you're welcome. And you can also check out my tutorials on Rust in my channel. I think around 2 3 months ago you will have some. There is an entire playlist. And yeah, that's it for this video, folks. So I will see you next time and possibly with some Rust tutorials or some other interesting article. So yeah, see ya.